Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well today. It's Monday, November 9th, and here is today's Monday Morning Minute. For today, we're mixing things up just a bit. I'd like to actually start with a few business items, some course notes for us, and then we'll talk about this week's readings. So to start, just a couple important course notes to keep in mind. First of all, as I mentioned during our synchronous session last week, I'm going to add another optional, 100% optional synchronous session coming up next Tuesday at our normal class time, 5:45 p.m. And we'll talk mainly about that assessment analysis assignment. I will have shared with you by this time the other colleagues in the class whose projects you will be reviewing, but we can kind of walk through it in more depth. I'm happy to answer questions. If you have ideas about the assessments that you think you might want to create, this would be a great time for us to kind of put our heads together. There will also be plenty of time for us to bring up our own questions, our own perspectives and insights. And it's just, time for us to come together in a virtual space. And I really cherish that time with you all. So excited to see whoever is able to come on that day. And then secondly, there's going to be no critical response this week. We had on our calendar a sixth critical response. I've decided that is going to be stricken from the record. And this is for a couple of reasons, but mainly because, in looking at the grade book, and I'm glad, it warms my heart so much that so many of us are taking advantage of the fact that, there aren't really deadlines beyond the end of the semester for any of our assignments. But the fact that so many of us are taking advantage of that makes me think that, we need that time, that this semester has really taken a toll, and I don't want any of us to fall further behind, because I know that that's just not who we are, this particular group of people. So if this is a week where you can, spend a little time catching up on previous projects, or maybe there are assignments in other classes that you could use some more time with, please take that time. So no critical response. I'm going to delete the forum in Blackboard. I've already updated our course calendar, so it's not there anymore, but just know that. However, I do still have our readings up, and I would love it if you could find some time to take a look at these. So we've talked so much about, obviously, assessment, because that is the title of this course, and thinking about assessment in our particular content areas. And as we round out this semester, I do want to just bring up this idea that, in addition to ensuring that our students are learning the content, and of course we're hitting those standards, and that our students are doing reasonably well on any standardized assessment they have to take, I don't think it's a stretch or too much of an assumption, particularly with this group of students, with you all, to think about, or to assume that we're also thinking about who our students are becoming as human beings, as citizens, as people in this world. And to that end, we're going to be looking this week at habits of mind. Now, that is a phrase that is used very widely, and it means lots of different things. When I talk about habits of mind, I'm talking about the 16 particular habits that this guy, Art Costa, who's a lovely man, kind of came up with and researched. And so these 16 are here, and I've given you a link in the course calendar this week to this exact little map. And these are basically life skills. These are problem-solving skills. I've seen these integrated with great success across entire schools. So it's pretty fun to enter in kindergarten class where, 5-year-olds are talking about managing their impulsivity or responding with wonderment and awe. And these just basically name a lot of additional skills that I think many of us would agree are super important, just, in the course of a student's life. So please take a look at these and just kind of read through them. In this class, kind of a sub-theme has been, this reaction against so-called best practices or core practices, or one set of things that will work for all students. And I want you to know I'm not suggesting that these habits of mind are, yet another best practice. But I think that they are helpful, and if they become habits, they can be pretty transformative. So take a look at these, and then also, in continuing to think about this larger question of how can we ensure our students are learning more than the content, I've also included a chapter from an edited book by Art Costa, and this chapter is specifically kind of more geared toward assessment. So Baines, the author of this chapter, is talking about self-initiated learning. He's talking about how he uses project-based learning within his class. And it's kind of a cool spin. Basically, students decide on their own projects, their own questions, and certainly they have the support of the teacher. They also have the support of their peers. And so he talks specifically about how he assesses these projects. And it's really rooted in like deep reflection that is, again, like propelled by the student themselves with the aid of their peers who give feedback. And then he discusses a little kind of heuristic, this little reflection that he uses to help students reflect on their progress, utilizing some of those habits of mind. Again, this is just kind of, a new perspective, something else to think about when we're envisioning our future classrooms and the role of assessment within those classrooms. Here's just another way to go about it, one that is perhaps more rooted in, humanizing education, compassionate education, student-centered education in the truest sense of that phrase. So again, that chapter is there, and the link to more information about the habits of mind. I'd be super interested to hear what you all have to say about these. Maybe that's something we can touch on over the optional synchronous session that's coming up next week. That's all I have for us. And I hope that you all have a really wonderful week. Please know that I'm here and I'm thinking about you all. And yeah, if there's something you need, please reach out. All right, you all, have a great week.